Hey everybody. So I was on Reddit and I was reading this one post about this student who got upset because of the active shooter drills and how they've gone a little extreme. So I've decided to make a video about what I think is wrong with these active shooter drills that are being implemented nowadays. So, I have anxiety, and and one of my triggers is loud noises. And with loud noises, I can just basically shut down for the whole day. I can't return to working normally. And in these active shooter drills, my school's not doing this, by the way. My school's smart enough to not do this. But with these active shooter drills, they are expecting students to. It's basically they're simulating a school shooting. And they're using that by using loud noises and maybe flashing lights. They're simulating this active shooting and expecting students to return to normal schoolwork after that, and that's ridiculous. Like, anxiety is very common, and especially with the shootings that are going around, it's terrifying to experience that, to think to have it be that real. And I think they're going a little too far. You guys can use the excuse, oh, what if it's an emergency, all you want, but in an actual emergency, you're not going to be returning to normal schoolwork. That's the whole thing. You're not going to be returning to actual schoolwork. And that's what angers me, is you guys aren't thinking of what the students have to do with after experiencing something like that. It's too far. It's not preparing them for anything except for them to be even more terrified. Please focus, right? It's the same thing with fire drills. The surprise fire drills, again, they're not going to help anyone. My school, they let me leave 5 minutes before a fire drill, so I luckily don't have to be put through that experience. I just ask my teachers, I need to leave. I just tell my teachers, hey, I need to leave. Fire drill's happening in 5 minutes. They let me leave. And then I can return to school normally. But there are schools that don't do that. And that's not good. You need to make the circumstances available to students. Like, you need to make it so kids can actually return to normal schoolwork after that. Because just what I am saying is there's a group of students who cannot be around those loud noises. I'm talking about like autistic students, students with anxiety, students with PTSD, all that kind of stuff. They're not going to be able to return to normal schoolwork if they're subjected to that kind of stuff. And you just need to think of your students. They're there to learn, they're there to get information so they can go and live life normally, and that's another stressor for them. And if you're going to use that excuse as what if it's an actual emergency, in an actual emergency, they're going to be reacting just like that, and they're not going to be returning to school normally. They're just, like, for me, I dissociate after I have a panic attack. And for those who don't know what it's like, it's basically like I'm in a dream state. I don't know what's going on and stuff. And that's kind of hard to focus in class if you're in that state, if you're in a post-panic attack state. And that's rude. Not to mention the flashing lights from the fire alarm. Sure, they are helpful for deaf students and they're necessary, but you can change those lights to something that's not so flashy and alarming. It can cause seizures if it goes unchecked. And there are students that need to leave before that. You need to think about your students' health before you even think about what if it's an actual emergency. Because during a drill, there is an emergency going on. There is a medical emergency from the people who can't even be around loud noises or be around flashing lights. And you're putting people in active danger at that point. That's my problem with those drills, is you need to at least give a warning to those kids. I hate surprise drills. They make no sense, and they don't help people, especially with people with medical conditions. There's a lot of people with anxiety. There's a lot of people with autism. There's a lot of people with epilepsy, and that's just, you need to think about them before you do stuff like this. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say on it. I hope people listen to me.